Yo, what's good YouTube? Welcome back guys to another video. So guys, I'm currently working on a new loop kit for you guys, and in this video you're getting a front row seat to the exact process that I used to create the melodies in this loop kit. No music theory, no complicated talk, just pure creativity, simple tools and pure vibes. So join me as I show you guys my creative process behind making melodies and chord progressions inside of FL Studio. So without wasting much of your time, let's just get to today's video. So guys, the first thing we're going to talk about is the foundation for every single melody, which is the chord progression. So the first thing I'm going to do is to open my piano roll, and I'm going to go down to this drop down menu right here, and I'm going to go to view, and over at view you can see we have helpers right here, and I'm going to go to scale highlighting. As you guys can see, we have root notes and we have scales, and for the scales there are so many scales you could actually use in everything here. For a start, the only thing you need to know are these two scales, which is the major scale and the minor natural scale. So the major scale is when you want to go for something very happy, while the minor natural scale is more something that feels dark, sad. So for me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the minor natural, and then moving on to the root notes. There are so many root notes, just pick whatever. I'm just going to pick C sharp. So once you use this, you see that all the notes that are actually in the scale of C sharp are highlighted. So these are all the notes that are in the scale of C sharp. If I should just take this up, you could see that it actually repeats itself. I'm going to show you guys how you could use this to come up with chord progression. So the first thing you need to do is always place your first note on the root note that you selected. I like to first make my bass note, and then from there I build my chords. So the bass note, I like to just play and listen with my ears to what sounds good. So now that we have our bass note, I'm going to show you guys how you can make your chords. So what you need to do is to count to 7, and I'm going to show you guys how this counting thing works. So you count from 0 to 7, 0, 1, 2, 3. So on the third count, you place your second note, and then you go 4, 5, 6, 7, and then your third note on the 7th count. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then over here you do the same thing. So 0, 1, 2, 3. But since the third note is not in scale, you take this up to the 4th and make this a major triad chord instead of a minor triad chord. I'm going to explain that later. So you go 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, just like that, and then do the same thing. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do the same thing again. 0, 1, 2, 3. But then since this is not actually in our scale, I'm going to take this and make this a major, and then 4, 5, 6, 7. So basically you'd hear me mention minor and major. How you differentiate between a minor and a major chord is by where the second note is actually placed, where the middle note is placed. If the middle note is placed on the third count, it's a minor chord. If the middle note is placed on the 4th count, just like this, it's a major chord. So just like that, we have our chord progression. This is what it sounds like. So guys, just like that, it sounds amazing already. I'm going to try to make another chord progression just to show you guys how easy it is. So I'm going to place my first note on C sharp. I think we're going to just repeat the same method, and then I'm going to come back down to, let's say, a G sharp, and then I'm going to place my third note on an A, and then the 4th on a B. So, and then with this you're going to do the same thing. Count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then like this: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Same thing, 0, 1, 2, 3, but the third note is not in scale, so I'm going to take this up to the 4th. And then we have 5, 6, 7, and then the same thing: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to place it on the 4, and then 5, 6, 7. And just like that, guys, you guys have already seen how I came up with 2 separate chord progressions. It's just easy for me to use this particular method to come up with chord progressions. I'm just showing you guys the basics of how I come up with chord progressions in general. So now that we've gotten this, I'm going to show you guys a ton of ways to take this from sounding the way it does to sound 10 times better. So the first step is to add more notes. So we're going to make this, instead of a triad chord, I'm going to make this a 7th chord. And how I do that is, since this is a minor triad chord, we're going to count to 10. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Place the 4th note on the 10th count, which is going to make it a 7th chord instead of a triad chord. And then over here, this is a minor chord still. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And over here, this is a major chord. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it can't be 10 because the 10th note is actually not in scale. So 11. The same thing. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And as you guys can see, this makes it sound a little bit more interesting. Another thing you could also do is to invert the middle notes. I'm going to show you guys what I mean by inverting the middle notes. So you just hold Ctrl and Shift, select everything like this, and then just hold Ctrl and the up arrow key. You could either take it up an octave or you could bring it down an octave. So I prefer to take it up. This makes it sound a whole lot better than it already does. And then moving on, what we are going to do next is to add depth to the melody. What I mean by adding depth to the melody is just to hold Ctrl Shift, like I've said before, select all the root notes. I'm going to be duplicating the root notes down an octave to just, basically give it more depth, and then hold Shift, click on either one of them. So just click on this and then hold Ctrl and the down arrow key to bring it down an octave. And then finally, one more thing you could also do to make the sound a lot more interesting is to add syncopation to the chord progression. If I should turn on the metronome, if you could hear, everything just plays on beat. So I'm going to count while it plays. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So as you guys can see, this plays on the first count and then this plays on the third count. So basically what syncopation is just placing things off count. So I'm going to show you guys what that is. So I'm going to take the second chord like this, and then instead of making this play on the third count, I'm going to make this play in between the third and the fourth count, and then I'm going to drag this out and then do the same thing for the last chord. Take this, I'm going to make this play in between the third and the fourth count, and then just drag this like this. And then finally, I'm going to show you guys a couple of things you could do to add that human touch to your chord progression. The first thing we're going to do is, I have to zoom in for this, is to hold Alt S. This is going to strum the note. As you guys can see, all the notes are actually not on time. If I use this time knob right here, I'm just offsetting the notes. What this does is kind of simulating playing on a real piano, because if you're playing on a piano, you're not hitting every note on time. So I'm going to be offsetting the notes just this much, and then click accept. And then another thing we're going to do is hold Alt R to randomize velocities. This basically is the same thing. If you're playing on a piano, you're not hitting every note with the same strength. Some notes are played with more strength, while other notes actually played with less emphasis. So I'm going to be using this velocity knob right here. I'm going to use this like this. For some reason, pianos just sound way better when the velocities are down. So I'm going to hold Ctrl A to select everything, hold the Alt key, and then scroll with my mouse scroll wheel. I'm just going to scroll everything down to bring the velocities down. So guys, now that we have our chord progression, I'm going to be showing you guys how you can come up with melodies or counter melodies easily. To come up with melodies or counter melodies, if you're not using music theory, you need to just use your ears to know what sounds good with your chord progression. And then another thing you could also do to help you make melodies and counter melodies is to create tension in your melodies. And how you do that is by using these two notes that are together. As over here, if you move over here, you can see that D sharp and E, these two notes are highlighted together, and over here we have G sharp and A, these two notes are highlighted together. So I'm going to be using this technique to come up with a melody or a counter melody. So first, you want to find out what actually suits the whole chord progression. Let's try this. Take this up. As you guys can see, I'm using these two notes that are actually together, like I've said. Just like this. And I'm going to copy this over, Ctrl B. So I want this to sound different from this, so I'm going to switch up the last two notes. Let's just take this up like this. I'm going to randomize velocities. So yeah guys, this is how easy it is for me to come up with chord progressions and melodies. I'm going to show you guys how I apply this particular technique into making real melodies. Let's try and make a couple of melodies for the loop pack that I was talking about. So guys, for this particular melody loop, I want to go for something very slow. So I'm going to switch the BPM to 100 BPM, and I want to use a guitar plugin. So I'm going to be using this Evolution Hollow Body Blues Bank inside of Contact. Let's use this jazz chorus preset. I basically want to make an emotional type melody. So I'm going to be using the scale that we already have, which is C sharp. So first, let's get our bass note. So I'm going to go, so C sharp, B, then an A. Actually, I don't want this to B on time and do the same thing. So I'm going to make a chord of this from this bass note. So 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So this is the 7th chord, but since this is actually a guitar plugin, I'm going to strum it. So I'm going to take this up before I strum it. Just like I've said, I'm going to invert the middle note and then I'm going to strum this. So let's go and then bring this here. Then I'm going to repeat this note again because it actually sounds good, and I'm going to shorten this, and then I'm going to add this B over here. Okay, just like that. You guys can hear that this note just follows what we already have. Bring this over to an A. Then I'm going to repeat this once more. Then I'm going to do the same thing, add this, and then repeat this. And copy this over. But then I actually do not want this to actually repeat just like the first one, so I'm going to switch up the bass notes. I'm going to bring this down to something that sounds nice. I'm going to bring this down. Yeah, I'm going to bring this down to an E. Let's try an F sharp. And then what I'm going to do to make this sound way better, because right now the velocities are too high and everything, so I'm going to randomize velocity, Alt R, this knob right here, and then I'm going to bring the volume of everything down. Quickly link this to the mixer, Control L. I'm going to add some effect. I'm going to add the fruity parameter EQ, cut out some of the lows, then boost the highs. Then I'm going to be adding RC20. I'm going to be using this to just add some color to the guitar melody. I'm going to use the Lush and Crunch Guitar 2 presets. Click OK. The distortion is a bit too much, so I'm going to bring this down. And then I'm going to put the switch off the stereo, reduce the noise, bring the space down. This just basically adds color to the guitar melody. And I'm going to duplicate this, and then with this I'm going to get a new preset. Let's try the Clear Night Sky, and then with this I'm going to try to come up with a melody with a guitar rhythm or some sort of counter melody. So just like I've said before, I'm going to try to create tension with these two notes that are actually together, which is D and E or G sharp and A. So let's do something like this. And then over for this part right here, I'm going to do something like this. This is where I'm going to add the tension. Let's do something like this. Just finalize everything, I'm going to add this. So let's quickly link this to the mixer and add some effects. So I'm going to start by adding the fruit parameter EQ. I'm going to boost the highs. Just like that. And then I'm going to add the RC20. I'm going to be using the same preset that I use. I'm going to be using Lush and Crunch Guitar 2 presets. Bring the distortion down. And this I actually want on stereo. And then I'm going to add the Fruity Delay 3. I'm going to use the ping pong presets. Bring the wets down. And then I'm going to set this to 8 beats. Let's add some reverb. I'm going to be using the Valhalla Room. Bring this down. I actually want to add another plugin. I'm going to be using this plugin called the Prince. But this what I actually want to do is I want to add some plucks. So I'm going to be using this pluck. Go to the piano roll, take this up. Since I have an A here, I'm going to place this and then take this up an octave. And then over here, I'm going to add, let's add a B. And then over here, the same thing, add a G. I think no, I'm going to add an F instead because the root note here is F. So I'm going to add an F and the same thing. And I'm going to randomize velocities. So I'm going to be adding this bass one shot. I'm going to do the usual, just follow the root notes of the melody ball for this. So instead of just placing them like this, like this, like this, I kind of want to do something unique. So I'm going to just add this right here. Take this up an octave. Bring this like this. Then this over here like this. And then do the same thing for this. Since this are root notes, I'm going to do this. Same thing. But then I'm going to take this up an octave and then bring this down. then take this up, then stretch this out, put this right here, then this, then take this up, bring this down. To just add some ear candy to the melody, I'm going to add an accent. So let's add this. So this, I'm first going to stretch this so it fits with our tempo, just like this. Then put this to stretch. As you guys already can hear, it's not in key, so I'm going to put this to the same key that we have, just like this. And then just to wrap things up, I'm going to add some vocals. I'm going to use this, but this is way too loud. So first, I'm going to bring the volume down, put this to stretch so we can time stretch this to fit with our tempo, just like this. And then I'm going to just stretch this out like this. But then this is not in key, so I'm going to try to use this pitch knob right here to put this to sound in key with what we have. So I'm going to bring this, let's take this up. Okay, so I actually have to go down. Let's go 500. Just like this. I want to take this up an octave, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the range to 12. Then I'm going to use this pitch knob right here and then take this up. So this is going to take it up 1 octave. So this is what it sounds like now. But then just to kind of fix the vocals, I'm going to link the vocals to a mixer, and then I'm going to add the parameter EQ. So this, I'm going to use this preset right here. This is what I like to do for my vocals. So I'm going to be accelerating only the mid frequencies, drag this right here, and then I'm going to drag this. So what we have is only the mid frequencies playing. And then what I'm going to do is to add some reverb, just kind of bring ambience to, you know, the whole vocal. And to do that, no pun intended, I'm going to be using the ambience plugin. This is a free reverb plugin. You can go check it out. It's really cool to use for vocals. So I'm going to increase the dry to 0, and then I'm going to bring the wet down. This is where the whole magic happens. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go down to the drop down menu, and then I'm going to split by channel. But then what I want the vocals to come in only for the second part of the loop. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to bring this right here, and then over I'm going to put this back, and then over for this part I'm going to make this unique, and for this I'm going to bring this back to the normal pitch. So this part is going to be high pitched, and then this is going to be the normal pitch. And then for this part, I'm going to be deleting the guitar counter melody, just this. I'm going to just render this out. So select everything, go to the master track, and then I'm going to click this and just hold Alt R. So once I have this, I'm going to just mute everything else. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this to stretch, and then I kind of would just want to, you know, mess around with the pitch to find out what really sounds nice. So I'm going to bring this down 200. Let's bring this down one more. Let's take it up 200. It's kind of too high, so I think I'm going to stick with 300 cents. So this is what it sounds like. So yeah guys, let's move on to the next melody. I kind of want to make like a slow jazzy afro beat type melody. So for this, I'm going to go even way slower. I'm going to go for 91 BPM, and then the first thing I'm going to do is to get an piano. I'm going to be using Lounge Lizard. So with this, I'm just going to use the default preset and then go over to the piano roll. So for this, I'm going to switch this up. Let's use a different root note so you guys know that you could just basically use anything. So I'm going to use C, and with this, I'm going to first lay down my bass notes, then down to a G. Let's go to F, so just like this. So I'm going to build my chord. So just like this: 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So this is a C minor triad chord. And remember what I told you guys about building tension? I know this is kind of a bit too complex, but I'm just going to try to add some tension by adding a note like this on top. But instead of just leaving this here, I'm going to bring this down an octave: 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and then I'm going to make this also a 7th chord: 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, and then do the same thing. So I'm just going to repeat this since it's basically the same root notes, then stretch this out. Then I'm going to shorten this and then do the same thing for this: 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Then I'm going to shorten this as well. So this is what we have. I just want to add some little imperfections. So first I'm going to use Alt S to strum it. I'm just going to hold Alt and kind of like mess around with the notes. I want this to be as imperfect as possible, so that's what I'm going to try to do. So I'm going to shorten this and then like this, and then for this the same thing as well. I just want to add some little imperfections here and there. So over here I just want to switch up this chord. I'm going to drag this out like this, drag this out as well. Then I'm going to shorten this, drag this out like this, and then add a note here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold Alt R to randomize velocities and then bring everything down. Then what I'm going to do also, I'm going to just select the root notes. I'm going to hold Shift and then just click, left click on top, and then just bring this down an octave. And then over here I'm going to add a note like this, and I'm just going to copy this over. But then for this part I'm going to actually leave the chords the way they are. So I'm going to drag this out like this, then drag this out, and then I'm going to delete this. I'm going to shorten this. So basically right now we have a variation. We have this part and now we have this part, which is kind of like a bit different from this. So I'm just going to manually offset the notes because I really want this to be imperfect as possible. So I'll drag this out like this. So now that we have this, I just want to add some more layers. So I'm going to use Analog Lab, and with this I'm going to use, let's use this instead. So I'm going to use another piano. So this, I'm just going to copy this and then paste this over. Now that we have our chord progression and we've layered our chord progression, I kind of want to add like a top melody. So that I'm going to clone Analog Lab and I'm going to go over and get an organ. So I'm going to use this jazz organ. And with this, I know this is not in key, but it actually sounds good. So I'm going to add this, just offset the notes. Dun. Yeah, just like that. Dun, 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 dun. So I'm going to add a note like this, but then I'm going to bring this out like this. And then what I'm going to do now is, since we have this already, I'm going to copy this over. But then for this part, I'm going to just add some variations just to make this a bit different from the first. So to a C instead. Yeah, just like this. And then let's switch this up to a G and take this up to a D. I'm also going to just switch this up as well. I think this is going to be like this. But then what I'm going to do is I'm also going to try to make this as imperfect as possible as I did for the chords. So I'm going to just manually adjust the notes. This basically just adds soul, like I've said before, since this is more like a jazzy afrobeat type melody. So for this, I'm just going to add the RC20 to the piano. I'm going to use the default Vinyl 3 presets. I'm going to bring the noise down and then just like this. Add the same thing for the second piano. And then for this, I'm going to turn off the noise, add some space, and then I'm going to bring the distortion down. And then for the melody, I'm going to add RC20. Still going to use the Vinyl 3 preset, turn off the noise, add some space. And then I'm going to add this plugin called Super VHS. I'm just going to turn on the magic. And then just to seal everything, I'm going to add Vala Vintage Verb, bring the mix down. I want to add my bass. So for my bass, I'm going to use Purity, and I'm going to be using this preset that I actually made myself. I combined the A and A bass guitar and the EB rock finger together. Add this. This is the generic pattern we have. This actually sounds good, but like I said, I just want to add some more spice. So I'm going to add a note like this. just adjust it like this, take it up an octave, do the same thing over here, take this up, do the same thing, adjust this, take this up. So instead of taking this up, I'm going to just take this to a C. Just like this, then drag this out. And then over here, just keep going with the root notes and take this up an octave. And then I'm just going to copy this over. So for this part, I'm going to just switch things up as well. So I want to make this part completely different from the first part. So I'm going to add a note here. Just as usual, like I've been doing before, take this up. I want to use these two notes to create tension. So I'm going to add this right here and add a note here. But then I'm going to stretch this all out like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this. Yeah, just like that, and then add a note here because I want this to go dum 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 dum. Yeah, just like that. But instead, I think I'm going to bring this to a D sharp instead, and then I'm going to add a note here, and then just to finalize everything, I'm going to add this. So it's going to sound like this, just like that. This just gives it that jazz feel. So you can just add more like a texture or something like that. I'm going to be using this string sample that I have. It's just a single note that's playing. So I'm just going to add this. As you guys can see, I reduced the volume a bit. I'm just going to add some vocals just so, you know, add some ambience to the whole melody. So I'm going to go over to this pack by Kanzii, go over to the loops, and there's a whole bunch of vocals here. So I'm just going to pick one.
I ain't going back.
I'm going to use this. So for this, I'm just going to double click and then time stretch this so it fits with our tempo. Put this to stretch. And as you guys can see, the sample is in A minor. So I'm going to put this to our root note that we have, which is C. So this is what it sounds like.
I ain't going back. No, 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 no.
But then what I'm going to do is just to make this more interesting is I'm going to reverse this. But then I actually do not like this part when it's reversed. So I'm going to cut out this part that I do not like. And then I'm going to put this here. So it's going to be like this. So I'm going to quickly add some effects to the vocals. Link this to the mixer. I'm going to isolate the mid frequencies. I'm going to do that by adding the Fruity Parameter EQ. I'm going to use these presets. I'm going to isolate this like this. And then I'm just going to cut out the lows. I'm going to add back the vibrance with this ambience reverb plugin. I'm going to increase this. And then I'm going to bring the volume down. And finally, just add that ear candy. I'm going to go over to the Cadence One Shot collection and I'm going to go over to phrases. Kind of want to add like a guitar phrase. I'm going to use this, drag this in. I don't need to pitch it any further. It's just perfect like this. So I'm just going to bring the volume down. Yeah, just like this. Cut this at this point. Then I'm going to duplicate this. So yeah guys, and just like that, we are done with this as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this out. I'm going to select this, do the same thing, go to the master track, click on this, and then hold Alt R, then click start. And then let's try and see if it sounds better if I pitch this up or down. So I'm going to bring this down too. Ooh, this sounds really good. Let's take this up. So I'm just going to leave it the way it is since it sounds good either way. So by the way guys, the melodies in this video are all going to be in the upcoming loop kit, and this loop kit is actually a collaboration with me and my bro Beats. If you guys don't know who that is, go check him out on Instagram. He's actually fire. So this is actually a collaboration with him, and he's going to be handling the drum loops and I'll be handling the melody loops. So if you guys like the melodies in this video, you're definitely going to want to check out the loop kit when it comes out. So make sure to like this video guys if you guys learned something at least from this video, and also subscribe to the channel while you guys are down there, and hit that notification bell so you know when I drop this loop kit or when I drop a new video. That's gonna be all today guys. Thank you guys for watching, and see you guys in the next video. I'm out of here.